Hi guys, so today I'm going to show you how I made my Stein dress from Soul Eater. To start off, I found this, it's basically just a weird turtleneck sweater dress that I found at Goodwill for like $5. Started off, I'm taking off that turtleneck to replace it with a gray colored one. I tried seam ripping it first, but you'll see in a minute I kind of gave up because it was taking forever, so I just recommend cutting it off. Don't spend so much time seam ripping. It's not worth it. Once you cut it off, you're basically gonna go and get a donor t-shirt for all the fabric. Or if you have some fabric, you can. I just got a t-shirt that is similar material. I went ahead and I found a part of it that looked like the turtleneck, the most like the turtleneck I wanted. It's kind of off screen, but it was kind of the bottom of it because it was ribbed. I like that. I used the original turtleneck to kind of measure it out and then cut off the piece that I wanted. I went ahead and then pinned it on carefully. I am so sorry, I didn't realize how out of frame I was for the majority of this video, but I just used like little clamp thingies, but you can totally use just regular pins. I just like these because they don't leave holes, and I'm tired of getting pricked at work by all the pins that I have to work with. You're also going to want to sew hole the oh my god, I cannot talk today. Sew closed the hole or the edges at the end. You can do this before pinning. I'm just really impatient and I was like, oh, I'll just do it as I go. But you're gonna want to do that because you obviously don't want it to be open in the back. Just line it up as best as you can. You may need to pull a little bit to like make sure the edges are the same. Don't stress though, because you can always iron stretchy fabric and it'll kind of shrink back down. I use my serger to do this, but you can definitely just use a regular sewing machine. As you can see, I closed that end and I went in and sewed the edge of the collar to the neckline. I recommend using a zigzag stitch if you use a regular sewing machine. I just wanted to get some practice in since I just got this overlock machine and I'm really excited about it. It also is a little bit more stretchy than a regular sewing machine. But yeah, don't worry about being too neat. It's kind of, the whole look is very thrown together because you know it's Frankenstein based off of him. So next up, I went ahead and cut off the sleeves to the short sleeve that I want, since he doesn't have full-length sleeves. I just kind of picked where I wanted and then copied it to the other side. I then cut off one of the one of the sleeves because one of them is gray. You want to keep all these pieces to use as templates for cutting out the gray fabric. I also then added the gray portion to kind of the chest area, since he has like a like stripe in the center. Sorry, I don't know how to talk today, so just enjoy this terrible voiceover. You don't have to use a ruler, you can also use scissors. I just find this easier because it makes it a lot straighter. And then go to that donor sweater and I want to actually open up the sleeve that I cut off so I have a pattern for the sleeve. But I actually wanted to start with the bigger pieces, cutting those out first, just because it's a lot easier to cut the smaller pieces than out of like less fabric than the bigger pieces. They take up a lot more fabric and you want to make sure you get those first. When cutting them out, make sure to leave a little bit of a seam allowance at the edge that you're going to sew together. And I ended up having to kind of open up the sweater so I could cut out that sleeve because it was kind of hard to cut it out. Then I went ahead and just pinned them to the original spots on the original sweater. Just the same way I did the collar, really. Just making sure that it's inside out for when you do sew it, because you're going to flip it right side out so you can't see those seams. And then you're just going to sew those together, using the same basically method as we did with the collar. I ended up adding a few more stripes, but as you can see here, the whole thing was a little baggy because I didn't really modify it before starting on this project. So I went ahead and just marked how much I wanted to take it in. I ended up having to take it in on the sides as well as the center back because there was a seam there. And just kind of like measured how much I wanted to take it in with some safety pins, nothing too crazy. Tried to get them as even as possible on each side, just so one side didn't turn out too wonky. Cool, then this is after I went ahead and did the take-in, which was just sewing it. It's a little wonky in the back, but I feel like that works for this character. I also left all the edges raw because I didn't really see a point in finishing them since his character is very kind of thrown together. For the stitches, I actually just used like an off black, kind of almost gray yarn. It was just $1 at Walmart. And then using a really big sewing needle, I went ahead and just sewed along all of the seams, including actually the black sleeve, using just a whip stitch. Try and leave it pretty loose. You don't want it to like scrunch up and look like weird. But yeah, I just did it for all of it. This was kind of time consuming, so I recommend throwing on something to watch and just zoning out while you do this. It took a while. This is the finished product. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I'm really happy with how it turned out, especially the stitching. It was perfect. I just used the stitching for also the lab coat. And yeah, and that's how I made the dress. I hope you enjoyed.